Shrestha from grade 10, roll number 3 from the SC batch of 2018. Today I am here to present on the chapter of scientific study on the subject of variable and their importance. So I would like to start it. Any quantity that varies during the span of an experiment is known as variables. A variable is any factor, trait or condition that can exist in differing amounts or types. In other words, a variable is a measuring quantity, factor or condition that can be controlled or changed during an experiment. Variables are of three types. They are independent variable, dependent variable and control variable. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Namaskar and good evening to you all. This will be Sanjay from grade 10 is standing here to explain our independent variable. An independent variable is the called manipulated variable, and independent variable in the factor or condition that you can change in the experiment are sometimes called experiment variables or predictor variables. Thank you.
Namaskar and good afternoon to you all. This will be telling the point of view to deliver to define a definition like independent variable. Independent variable is also called a responding variable. Or dependent variable is the factor or condition that you measure or observe in an experiment. We can also say that any variables that is of interest to the research and can be measured for an effect is called dependent variable. Dependent variables sometimes cause outcome variables. For example, in the experiment of block and tackle system of police, and the dependent variable is the weight or load being lifted by the block and tackle police system. This is the output or dependent variable that responds to the change in the dependent variables. Thank you.
Hi, and very warm good evening to you all. Sorry, good afternoon to you all. It's me, Rasmi Shah from grade 10. From the 2018 batch of Anupam 23rd. I'd like to start my topic, control variable. The variable other than dependent and independent variable have to be reminded unchanged or controlled by the researchers. If they are not controlled, the correct result cannot be obtained. Control variables are the variables that our researchers tries to hold constant throughout the experiment. A control variable is the variable that kept is constant throughout the experiment to ensure that any change in the dependent variable are due to the change in the dependent variables. Thank you so much.
Namaskar and good evening to you all. It's me, Aaron Sister from grade 10, roll number 1 from batch 2018. In front of you to present some information about the importance of variable in scientific study. Variable can be defined as any factor that changes or be changed in an experiment or observation. There are three types of variable: independent variable, dependent variable and control variable. There are many types of importance of variable in scientific study. Some of them are listed below. Variable helps to control unnecessary or minor factor that influence the outcome of experiment. Number 2, variable helps researchers to make accurate observation by providing a way to quantitatively qualify and measure the phenomena and under investigation. Point number 3, variable helps scientists to design experiments that can test their hypothesis by manipulating or controlling specific factors that may affect the outcome. And point number 4, by manipulating or controlling variable, researchers can establish cause and effect relationship. This is important because it allows scientists to make valid conclusions about the effect of variables on the outcome of an experiment or observation. Thank you.
Good morning and namaste. It's me from grade 10, 2008 S batch 24 batch of Vidyasharan. Today I am here to explain about the aspects to pay attention regarding variables in scientific study. cost point. An experiment or scientific research should have one independent variable and one dependent variable. Variables other than the selected independent and dependent variables must be controlled. The cost point and independent variable is the cause and it's independent on other variables in scientific study. Fourth point or dependent variable is the effect and its value depends on change in the independent variable. Fifth point when showing the relationship between the dependent variable on a graph, the dependent variable is always placed on the y-axis, also called vertical or y variable, and the independent variable on the x-axis, also called horizontal or x variable. Sixth point, generally while showing the relationship between variable in mathematical equation, the dependent variable is written on the left hand side of the equation. Sometimes a dependent variable is also right hand side variable and an independent variable is called left hand side variable. Thank you.
As you all know, it's Asa from grade 10. I'm standing in front of you to present. My topic is fundamental units and relative units. Measurement, the process of comparison of an unknown quantities with a known standard quantities is called measurement. For example, 1 kg sugar is weighed with the help of our standard mass of 1 kg. Fundamental units, those physical quantities which can neither be derived from nor be further resolved into other simpler quantities are called fundamental quantities. Rain, mass, time, electric current, temperature, luminance, essentially of light, and amount of substance are the example of fundamental quantities. Derived quantities, those physical quantities which depend on two or more fundamental quantities on power of a fundamental quantities are called derived quantities. For example, volume, pressure, force, speed, acceleration, etc.
And we are listening on one minute standing by the sun. Today's topic is fundamental units of physical quantities consists of magnitude and unit that can be measured directly or indirectly. Derived units, the units of derived quantities are called derived units. Measurement, the process of comparison of an unknown quantity is called measurement quantity.
Namaskar and very warm evening to you all. It's me, Rosnisa, standing in front of you to present my presentation. Now I like to present my presentation from derived unit and their relation with fundamental limits. The derived unit of the quantity area is n square and fundamental unit involved in is m into n and its formula is L into B. The derived unit of quantity volume is m cube and is fundamental unit involved is m into n and its formula is L into B into h. The derived unit of quantity velocity is m square ns minus n minus 1 and fundamental unit involved is ms and its formula is s by t. Likewise, I want to describe the difference between fundamental unit and derived unit. Fundamental unit, this is the unit of fundamental quantity, this is the unit of derived quantity. This unit is independent of other units. This unit is obtained from fundamental units. Thank you.
Namaskar and good evening to you all.